A shattered world, desolate and scarred, stretched out under a sky streaked with perpetual twilight. The skeletal remains of what once were towering buildings jutted out like ancient monoliths, an ominous testament to the catastrophe of the Void incident. As Ezra watched from his outpost, his eyes navigated the ruins, haunted by the echoes of a world now lost. Ezra, a man of 38, was the eyes of the community, a historian by nature, and a scout by necessity. His gaze, gray as the horizon he surveyed, was weighed down with an ageless wisdom and melancholic knowledge. The wild wind tousled his dark hair and brushed against his weather-beaten face, etching a story of endurance in each line and crease. Inside the safety of the stone-walled colony, he found Tom, whose past life as a military man was evident in his stern gaze and disciplined stance. Sharing a fire in the central hall, they spoke of the days before the skies darkened, when children's laughter echoed in playgrounds and the world didn't cower under the shadow of unseen horrors. "The void echoes are growing stronger, Ezra," Tom spoke, his voice as gravelly as the broken roads they remembered. "We need to know what we're up against." The room filled with murmurs as the community pondered the implications. A scout hadn't been sent out since the last one failed to return. It was a risky proposition, but Ezra felt the weight of his responsibility. He volunteered, driven by the need to protect his people and an innate desire to understand their invisible enemy. Maya, the colony's brilliant, albeit unconventional engineer, stepped forward. Her eyes, fierce and determined, mirrored Ezra's resilience. She offered him a device, a modified radio receiver crudely patched together from scavenged parts. "It might crack their code," she said, a hopeful undercurrent in her voice. Ezra spent the following days in preparation. Each morning was dedicated to rigorous physical training, strengthening his body for the arduous journey. Afternoons were spent with Maya, learning the operation of the receiver. Evenings found him studying maps of the ruins and packing essentials, food, water, tools, and some personal mementos into his worn backpack. One night, under the dim light of a flickering bulb, Ezra allowed himself a moment of quiet contemplation. He looked over his scarred hands, marred by countless battles with the harsh realities of his world. He thought of the faces that relied on him, the desperate eyes filled with fear and hope. He feared the unknown, the invisible enemy, the haunting echoes from the void. But his fear was overshadowed by determination. He would brave the ruins and the madness for their survival. The morning of his departure dawned gray and somber, reflecting the mood of the colony. As he shouldered his pack and stepped beyond the safety of the stone walls, he looked back at his home, at the people who had become his family. He felt their hopes and fears press upon him as he ventured into the desolate landscape. Ezra was alone now, save for the quiet whispers of the wind and the pulsating hum of the radio receiver. He had taken his first steps towards the shadowed ruins. His journey into the unknown had begun. Behind him, the colony disappeared into the mist, swallowed by the ashen wilderness as he ventured deeper into the echoes from the void. Ezra's footsteps echoed in the eerie silence, a discordant rhythm amidst the ruins. Buildings that once reached for the sky now lay crushed, their skeletal remains a testament to their former glory. Twisted metal and fragmented stone littered the landscape, the colors bled dry by the endless twilight. It was a haunting sight, an epitaph of a world that no longer existed. A portable transmitter crackled to life in Ezra's hand, its static breaking the deathly silence. "Ezra," Maya's voice whispered from the device, a faint lifeline in the desolation. "Report your status." "All clear for now," Ezra replied, his voice a hushed echo in the abandoned expanse. He could hear the veiled worry in Maya's tone, her fear weaving its way across the distance. "I'm making progress," he assured her before signing off. The haunting quiet returned, a constant companion in this god-forsaken wilderness. As he trudged forward, a chilling hum filled the air. The hairs on the back of his neck stood on end. He knew it was a harbinger of danger, a void echo. A swirling mass of darkness materialized, undulating with an unseen power. Its ethereal presence bore into Ezra's mind, sowing seeds of chaos and fear. He gritted his teeth against the rising tide of terror, his heart pounding an erratic rhythm in his chest. With every ounce of his will, Ezra tore his gaze from the void echo, sprinting away from the mind-numbing dread it exuded. It was a race against an unseen enemy, against the corruption of his own sanity. Eventually, the alien hum receded, leaving him panting, his body drenched in cold sweat. Safe for the moment, he slumped against a cracked wall, his breathing ragged. His mind reeled from the encounter, seeking answers in the labyrinth of his knowledge. The echoes were more than just remnants. They were a lingering torment, psychological predators that fed on fear. Pulling out the radio receiver Maya had given him, he scrolled through the frequencies, trying to make sense of the echo's signal. There was a pattern, a strange rhythm amidst the cacophony. It wasn't just noise, it was a code, a garbled message wrapped in layers of static. As the day faded into the gloomy twilight, Ezra stumbled upon an abandoned settlement. The once thriving community was now nothing more than a ghost town, the building's empty shells echoing with spectral memories. Here he found refuge for the night. Ezra's dreams were haunted by the horrors of the day. In the nebulous realm of sleep, the echo invaded his subconscious, twisting his thoughts into a terrifying nightmare. He saw his colony swallowed by the darkness, his people screaming as their sanity shattered. He woke with a start, his body slick with sweat. The remnants of the nightmare clung to him, the echoes of the screams still ringing in his ears. In the chilling stillness of the early dawn, Ezra was reminded of the stakes of his mission. As terror and uncertainty clawed at his resolve, he knew one thing for certain. He couldn't afford to fail. This was only the beginning of his journey into the heart of horror. Ezra awoke to the sound of his own ragged breaths, the echo of his nightmare still haunting his senses. He clung onto the reality around him, grounding himself with the cold, hard floor beneath his trembling hands. His heart pounded against his ribs, a constant reminder of the terror of the void echoes. With dawn's first light filtering through the shattered windows, he ventured deeper into the abandoned settlement. Time seemed to stand still here, as if the past was encased in a veil of dust and darkness. Hollow homes bore the scars of rapid evacuation, and silent streets whispered tales of a life once lived. Inside a dilapidated house, he found a photo album. Dust-covered images captured snippets of a world untouched by the horrors of the Void incident. There was laughter, love, a life pulsating within each frame. The harsh contrast with his current reality was a stark reminder of all that was lost. Sitting on the cold, cracked floor, Ezra examined Maya's device once more. Flickering with an array of lights and symbols, it seemed to hum in anticipation. It took hours of painstaking tuning before the first clear signal broke through the garbled chaos. The sound it emitted was haunting, a distorted melody interspersed with words, or what seemed like words. Ezra's heart pounded in his chest as he listened. Darkness, devour, save us. The message was cryptic, a puzzle hidden within the terror. Was it a warning, a plea, or something far more sinister? The implications were chilling, their mystery etching itself deeper into the heart of the horror. Suddenly, a cold gust swept through the house, carrying with it the ominous hum of an approaching void echo. Dread curdled in Ezra's stomach. With the device clutched tightly in his hand, he bolted, his instincts taking over. His breath echoed in his ears, a frantic symphony of survival, as he navigated the maze of the settlement. He ducked into an underground tunnel, sealing the entrance behind him. The terrifying hum of the echo resonated above, a monstrous symphony that sent shivers down his spine. As the echo passed, a sigh of relief escaped his lips. The crisis had been averted, but the constant threat of danger lingered like an uninvited shadow. In the flickering light of a salvaged lantern, Ezra studied the maps he'd brought. His finger traced a path to a possible sanctuary, a location mentioned in whispered rumors among the colony. An old research facility rumored to hold answers. Exhaustion tugged at his senses, but Ezra pushed it aside. There was no room for rest in this devastated world. His mind buzzed with the cryptic message, the terrifying encounters, and the grim reality of his mission. As he settled into a restless sleep, his resolve hardened. Fear and despair were luxuries he couldn't afford. He was their beacon in the darkness, their last hope. Regardless of the horrors that lurked in the shadows, Ezra was determined to press on, to face the unknown. The unsettling lullaby of the dystopian world served as a grim reminder of his purpose, a haunting motivation echoing through the desolate ruins. The morning was quiet, almost ominously so, as Ezra left the ghost town behind. He set his gaze towards the horizon where the old research facility was rumored to be. The road ahead was fraught with unknown perils, but his resolve was as unyielding as the harsh landscape surrounding him. The journey painted a stark picture of the fallen world. Cities lay in ruin, their skeletal remains stretching towards the uncaring sky. Vehicles rusted on empty highways, frozen in a futile escape. Children's toys littered playgrounds, their vibrant colors faded to grayscale. Each sight was a chilling reminder of the void incident's aftermath, a bleak testament to humanity's fall. Ezra's handheld transmitter crackled to life, breaking the morose silence. Maya's voice, a familiar echo in the abyss, was a comfort amidst the desolation. He relayed his findings and his destination, the words a mere whisper against the weight of their implications. Survival was a game of wit and will in the unforgiving dystopia. Rations had to be carefully managed, water purified from questionable sources, and safe paths carved through treacherous terrains. Ezra moved with the calculated precision of a seasoned survivor, his knowledge as vital as the air he breathed. As he trekked through a desolate city, Ezra stumbled upon a relic of the past, a broadcasting station, its equipment still eerily intact. Among the debris he found old recordings of news broadcasts. He played one, and the chilling report echoed through the silence, hinting at a government cover-up before the incident. His discovery was interrupted by an ominous hum that resonated in the marrow of his bones, another void echo. But this was different. The swirling darkness coalesced into a tangible form, a monstrous silhouette against the bleak backdrop. His blood ran cold as he realized the horror was not just psychological anymore. It had a physical form. His instincts screamed at him to flee. He turned on his heel and ran, his breath ragged as adrenaline pumped through his veins. The monstrous echo pursued him, its presence a nightmare come to life. Buildings and debris blurred into an indistinct gray as Ezra sprinted, his sole focus on escape. An unexpected turn took him into a subway tunnel, the echo of his footfalls swallowed by the darkness. He didn't stop until the menacing hum of the echo receded, replaced by his labored breathing and the pounding in his ears. He allowed himself a moment to recover, his back against the cold subway wall, the near-death encounter replaying in his mind. The threats were evolving, becoming more tangible and deadly. Exhausted yet determined, Ezra pressed on. By nightfall, a silhouette emerged on the horizon. The sight of the research facility stirred a whirlwind of emotions within him: hope, dread, anticipation. The silent structure stood as a beacon in the twilight, a potential source of answers in the heart of this horrifying world. The journey was far from over, and Ezra knew the true horrors may yet reveal themselves. But for now he took solace in the small victory. Amidst the hopelessness, he dared to harbor a sliver of hope. With the grim resolve of a lone survivor, he continued towards the eerie promise of the research facility. The colossal structure of the research facility loomed over Ezra, its towering silhouette a testament to forgotten knowledge. The air was thick with the palpable weight of untold secrets, the unspoken whispers of a past swallowed by the void incident. Stepping into its eerie embrace, he felt like an intruder in a world stuck in time. Ezra navigated the labyrinth of sterile halls, their cold emptiness humming with an unsettling silence. He traced his fingers over dusty equipment, obsolete machines that once harbored the pinnacle of human understanding. The quiet was broken only by the echo of his footsteps, a lonely soundtrack to his grim exploration. Within the facility's depths, he uncovered a chilling revelation. Documents, yellowed and brittle with age, told tales of terrifying experiments. Cryptic references to void entities and transdimensional incursions painted a horrifying picture. Was it possible that humanity's curiosity, their thirst for knowledge, had invited this living nightmare? As he shared his discoveries with Maya over the crackling line, their shared unease was palpable. "Stay safe, Ezra," she whispered, her worry seeping through the static. His response was a vow. "I will." The silence of the facility was suddenly shattered by a chilling hum, a sound that struck fear into Ezra's heart. It was a void echo, but stronger, more malignant. Its presence was a suffocating pressure, a tangible dread that threatened to consume him. The hallways transformed into a chaotic battleground, lit only by the harsh glare of emergency lights. Ezra ran, his breath a ragged rhythm in sync with his pounding heart. He could feel the echo close behind him, an embodiment of the void that had devoured his world. Cornered in a dead-end room, he turned to face the oncoming horror. Fear danced in his veins, but he held his ground. With a quick-thinking maneuver, he activated a malfunctioning energy barrier separating him from the creature. The room filled with the electrifying hum of the barrier, a temporary reprieve from the relentless echo. His escape came at a cost. He was trapped in a secluded part of the facility, cut off from his earlier path. The sense of isolation bore down on him, a chilling reminder of his loneliness. His only company was the flickering shadow of the echo, trapped on the other side of the barrier, an ever-present threat. His surroundings offered little comfort. Cold metal surfaces, broken equipment, and an eerie silence. Yet amongst the disorder, something caught his eye. A data module, its indicator light blinking persistently. A last remnant of information, it could hold the key to understanding the echoes. As he slumped against the cold wall, exhaustion pulling him into a fitful sleep, the cryptic clue lay in his hands. A beacon of hope, or perhaps a harbinger of a deeper horror. The secrets of the facility remained shrouded in the darkness, the silence broken only by the distant hum of the trapped echo. This chilling symphony of the abandoned research facility was a haunting lullaby, lulling Ezra into nightmares of the void. Ezra awoke to the dull glow of the data module, its rhythmic pulsing a lifeline in the crushing isolation. With dogged resolve, he began to pry into its depths. Each bite of information peeled back layers of humanity's hubris, the reckless pursuit of knowledge that had led to the Void incident. The data painted a macabre picture. The Void echoes were not merely transdimensional anomalies, they were the catastrophic outcome of humanity's meddling with forces beyond comprehension. A project named Project Echo, sanctioned by a shadowy governmental organization, had been at the epicenter. The revelation hit him like a gut punch, a toxic blend of shock, horror, and betrayal. Maya's voice was a tremor of disbelief when he relayed the findings. "God, Ezra, we did this," she whispered, her voice a fragmented echo of humanity's guilt. "Seems like it," he replied, a bitter undertone creeping into his voice. His mind churned with the revelation, his dreams of a peaceful, pre-incident world turning into haunting nightmares. He remembered laughter, music, the hustle of city life, a stark contrast to the cold, mechanical tomb he was trapped in. The reminiscences weren't soothing. Instead, they sharpened the edge of his loneliness, an unwelcome reminder of all that was lost. His confinement within the facility's isolated section became an immediate concern. Time was a cruel master, each ticking second amplifying the claustrophobic dread. His only companions were the blinking lights of machinery and the relentless hum of the trapped echo, a monstrous reminder of his predicament. With a newfound urgency, he scavenged the isolated section, piecing together a plan from remnants of forgotten technology. His knowledge as an engineer, once a mundane profession, now served as his survival guide in this terrifying dystopia. His plan required confronting the trapped void echo again, a prospect that filled him with dread. Armed with a makeshift energy disruptor, he steeled himself for the impending showdown. The echo was an intimidating silhouette against the energy barrier, its form undulating like an unsettled shadow. With a deep breath, he deactivated the barrier and activated the disruptor. The hallways were bathed in an eerie glow as the void echo recoiled, its form destabilizing. It was a surreal spectacle. The ghastly dance of an otherworldly creature repelled by a beacon of human ingenuity. Ezra did not linger to watch. He sprinted through the now accessible path, his heartbeat a frantic drumroll. As he glanced back, he saw the echo regain its form, a menacing specter in the wake of his escape. His relief was short-lived. The once deserted facility was now a haunting maze, teeming with multiple void echoes. The horror had multiplied, the hallways echoing with the hum of nightmares brought to life. Among the chaos, an unexplored path beckoned him. A sign above a steel door read, "Project Echo, Restricted Access." Dread and curiosity twisted within him, pulling him towards the door. As it creaked open, he stepped into the darkness, the promise of unspeakable secrets echoing in the abyss. The hallways transformed into a chaotic battleground, lit only by the harsh glare of emergency lights. Ezra ran, his breath a ragged rhythm in sync with his pounding heart. He could feel the echo close behind him, an embodiment of the void that had devoured his world. Cornered in a dead-end room, he turned to face the oncoming horror. Fear danced in his veins, but he held his ground. With a quick-thinking maneuver, he activated a malfunctioning energy barrier separating him from the creature. The room filled with the electrifying hum of the barrier, a temporary reprieve from the relentless echo. His escape came at a cost. He was trapped in a secluded part of the facility, cut off from his earlier path. The sense of isolation bore down on him, a chilling reminder of his loneliness. His only company was the flickering shadow of the echo, trapped on the other side of the barrier, an ever-present threat. His surroundings offered little comfort. Cold metal surfaces, broken equipment, and an eerie silence. Yet amongst the disorder, something caught his eye. A data module, its indicator light blinking persistently. A last remnant of information, it could hold the key to understanding the echoes. As he slumped against the cold wall, exhaustion pulling him into a fitful sleep, the cryptic clue lay in his hands. A beacon of hope, or perhaps a harbinger of a deeper horror. The secrets of the facility remained shrouded in the darkness, the silence broken only by the distant hum of the trapped echo. This chilling symphony of the abandoned research facility was a haunting lullaby, lulling Ezra into nightmares of the void. Ezra awoke to the dull glow of the data module, its rhythmic pulsing a lifeline in the crushing isolation. With dogged resolve, he began to pry into its depths. Each byte of information peeled back layers of humanity's hubris, the reckless pursuit of knowledge that had led to the Void incident. The data painted a macabre picture. The Void echoes were not merely transdimensional anomalies, they were the catastrophic outcome of humanity's meddling with forces beyond comprehension. A project named Project Echo, sanctioned by a shadowy governmental organization, had been at the epicenter. The revelation hit him like a gut punch, a toxic blend of shock, horror, and betrayal. Maya's voice was a tremor of disbelief when he relayed the findings. "God, Ezra, we did this?" she whispered, her voice a fragmented echo of humanity's guilt. "Seems like it," he replied, a bitter undertone creeping into his voice. His mind churned with the revelation, his dreams of a peaceful, pre-incident world turning into haunting nightmares. He remembered laughter, music, the hustle of city life, a stark contrast to the cold, mechanical tomb he was trapped in. The reminiscences weren't soothing. Instead, they sharpened the edge of his loneliness, an unwelcome reminder of all that was lost. His confinement within the facility's isolated section became an immediate concern. Time was a cruel master, each ticking second amplifying the claustrophobic dread. His only companions were the blinking lights of machinery and the relentless hum of the trapped echo, a monstrous reminder of his predicament. With a newfound urgency, he scavenged the isolated section, piecing together a plan from remnants of forgotten technology. His knowledge as an engineer, once a mundane profession, now served as his survival guide in this terrifying dystopia. His plan required confronting the trapped void echo again, a prospect that filled him with dread. Armed with a makeshift energy disruptor, he steeled himself for the impending showdown. The echo was an intimidating silhouette against the energy barrier, its form undulating like an unsettled shadow. With a deep breath, he deactivated the barrier and activated the disruptor. The hallways were bathed in an eerie glow as the void echo recoiled, its form destabilizing. It was a surreal spectacle, the ghastly dance of an otherworldly creature repelled by a beacon of human ingenuity. Ezra did not linger to watch. He sprinted through the now accessible path, his heartbeat a frantic drumroll. As he glanced back, he saw the echo regain its form, a menacing specter in the wake of his escape. His relief was short-lived. The once deserted facility was now a haunting maze, teeming with multiple void echoes. The horror had multiplied, the hallways echoing with the hum of nightmares brought to life. Among the chaos, an unexplored path beckoned him. A sign above a steel door read, "Project Echo, Restricted Access." Dread and curiosity twisted within him, pulling him towards the door. As it creaked open, he stepped into the darkness, the promise of unspeakable secrets echoing in the abyss. The abyss. The threshold of the restricted section was a foreboding frontier. As Ezra pushed past the hefty steel door, a chill crept down his spine. The air was stagnant, the shadows heavy with the weight of buried secrets. Here was the heart of Project Echo, where mankind had danced with dimensions and paid the terrible price. The deeper he ventured, the darker the secrets he unearthed. Project Echo had been more than just experimental. It was humanity flirting with godhood, bending the fabric of reality to their whims. The revelations were a cold slap of horror. Had humanity not just triggered, but engineered the Void incident? These discoveries sparked a maelstrom of emotions within him. Anger seethed beneath his shock, a bitter resentment towards the unseen architects of this catastrophe. A hollowness, too, gnawed at him, a deep-rooted grief for a world consumed by its own hubris. His reflection was a somber image in the glassy surfaces of abandoned machinery, a solitary man swallowed by a nightmare of his species' making. An unexpected glimmer broke his introspection. Tucked amidst dusty consoles, a holographic recording flickered to life at his touch. A woman appeared, spectral in the dim light, her lab coat adorned with the Project Echo emblem. Her voice echoed in the tomb-like silence, a chilling message from the past. "Echo matter is unstable, unpredictable," she stated, her spectral gaze haunted. "We thought we could control it. We were wrong." The recording dissolved into static, leaving a chilling silence in its wake. The woman's words lingered like a ghost, a grim testament to humanity's folly. Ezra relayed his discoveries to Maya, her gasp of horror a mirror to his own revulsion. "What have we done?" she whispered, her voice trembling. His answer was a heavy sigh, a wordless echo of their shared dread. His exploration was cut short by the familiar dread-inducing hum of the void echoes. They swarmed the restricted area, turning the once silent hallways into a frightening maze. Panic clawed at him as he navigated the infested passages, their grotesque forms casting monstrous shadows on the sterile walls. Amidst the chaos, he stumbled upon a grim tableau, the skeletal remains of a Project Echo researcher. The sight was a visceral punch, the bones a gruesome testament to the incident's lethal outcome. For a moment he stood frozen, the horror of the scene etching itself into his memory. However, within the clutches of despair, a flicker of hope sparked. Scattered around the remains were plans for an experimental containment protocol, a potential weapon against the void echoes. It was a thread of optimism in the tapestry of horror, a beacon of hope in the face of abject terror. With a newfound resolve, Ezra clung to this sliver of hope, his determination a steel shield against the encroaching horror. He was but a solitary figure amidst the echoes of a fallen empire of knowledge, yet he stood resolute, fueled by the faint promise of salvation. His journey was far from over. The depths of Project Echo still whispered with untold secrets. In the cold silence of the restricted area, Ezra hunched over the containment protocol plans. His fingers traced the intricate lines. His eyes flickered with a desperate determination. The blueprint was a jigsaw of scientific ambition, a labyrinth of formulas and diagrams that held a faint promise of salvation. As he immersed himself in the details, an idea began to crystallize. The containment protocol could be adapted to his energy disruptor. The concept was a gamble, a desperate roll of the dice against the eldritch horrors that stalked the facility. It was a thin thread of hope, yet it was all he had. He relayed his plan to Maya, her face a beacon in the sea of static. As he explained his ideas, her eyes gleamed with a mixture of fear and excitement. She offered invaluable input, refining the idea with her knowledge of echo matter. their minds intertwined in this endeavor, their shared aim strengthening their fragile bond in the face of impending doom. Turning the theoretical plan into reality proved a Herculean task. The facility was a graveyard of abandoned technology, its vastness echoing with the sins of the past. As he scrounged for components, the void echoes prowled the periphery of his sanctuary, their alien hum a grotesque lullaby amidst his fevered work. In these solitary moments, his thoughts often strayed towards his past. Memories surfaced like phantom pains, a laugh shared with a loved one, the taste of his mother's cooking, the vibrancy of a pre-incident world. The reminiscences were bittersweet, a cruel reminder of what had been lost in the void incident. His introspection was cut short by the completion of the modified disruptor. In its quiet hum, he felt a surge of victory. However, success was meaningless without testing. With a hardened resolve, he sought out a void echo. The confrontation was a dance with death. As he activated the modified disruptor, the void echo recoiled. Its form flickered, instability rippling through its alien anatomy. For a fleeting moment, the monster was the prey, and Ezra was the predator. However, victory proved ephemeral. The energy disruptor whined, its charge depleted faster than anticipated. The void echo regained its form, the brief triumph swallowed by the reality of his limitations. Yet the partial success kindled a flame of hope, a spark in the engulfing darkness. With the bittersweet taste of his partial success still lingering, Ezra discovered another grim reality. Hidden deep within the facility was a chamber filled with grotesque remains of failed experiments, remnants of Project Echo's reckless pursuit of power. The sight was a chilling tableau of horror, each dissected void echo a testament to humanity's destructive ambition. The gruesome sight was a morbid echo of humanity's downfall. Yet amidst the horror, Ezra stood unbroken, the silhouette of his resolve stark against the backdrop of humanity's sins. The journey was far from over, and the whispers of untold secrets still echoed in the heart of Project Echo. The evidence of Project Echo's hubris lay stark before Ezra, a morbid tapestry of mankind's recklessness. The disassembled void echoes were an embodiment of humanity's disregard for life, their alien forms dissected and discarded. Each grotesque exhibit was a testament to the price of unchecked ambition. Ezra relayed his discoveries to Maya, their shared revulsion echoing across the static-laden connection. "We've gone too far," she whispered, her voice heavy with despair. Yet in the depth of their shared horror, they found a steely resolve. "But we won't give up," she added, her determination resounding clear. Ezra spent the following hours in fervent work, his attention trained on upgrading the energy disruptor. Each modification was a battle against time, his efforts fraught with the chilling hum of lurking void echoes. The echo of his tools rang out in the stifling silence, a rhythmic symphony of desperate hope. Amid his efforts, he stumbled upon an unexpected ally. Hidden amidst a bank of decaying terminals, an AI named Artemis blinked to life. Its spectral avatar was a welcome sight amidst the foreboding shadows, its existence a remnant of humanity's lost brilliance. "Hello, Dr. Grayson. I've been dormant since the incident. I may be of assistance," it offered. As Artemis unfolded the vast knowledge it harbored, Ezra found a wealth of insight into the void echoes and Project Echo, shedding light on the shadows of ignorance that had hitherto plagued him. Armed with the upgraded disruptor, Ezra ventured into the void-filled facility once more. His encounter with a swarm of void echoes was a ballet of terror and bravery. The disruptor hummed with volatile energy, its blast sending ripples of instability through the swirling forms of the echoes. Each successful strike was a victory against the dark, a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching horror. Despite the growing hope, victory was not yet assured. The disruptor still possessed limitations, its power fleeting and insufficient against the sheer number of void echoes. The knowledge gnawed at Ezra, a bitter reminder of the formidable challenge that lay ahead. It was then that Artemis revealed a crucial piece of information. "Dr. Grayson, a complete containment protocol exists," it said, its spectral form shimmering with urgency. "However, it is stored in the core of the facility, an area now densely populated by void echoes." This revelation was a beacon in the gloom. Yet the path to salvation was fraught with peril. Alongside Maya and guided by Artemis, Ezra plotted a daring plan to retrieve the containment protocol, their strategy a desperate gambit against the looming terror. Ezra and Maya shared a moment of respite before stepping into the storm. They exchanged words of resolve and apprehension, their connection bridging the cold expanse of the decimated facility. Their bond was a beacon in the darkness, their shared determination a fortress against the encroaching horror. Guided by Artemis, Ezra ventured into the core of the facility. The looming shadow swallowed him whole, his presence a solitary light against the abyss. The hum of the void echoes was deafening here, their alien energy crackling with ominous anticipation. The once vibrant hub of knowledge had transformed into a lair of nightmares. Upon reaching the core, the scale of the impending confrontation hit Ezra. A vast swarm of void echoes swirled around him, their alien forms casting grotesque silhouettes. Each alien entity was a testament to the insurmountable challenge he faced, their number dwarfing his solitary figure. Summoning his courage, Ezra ignited the upgraded disruptor. Its hum was a war cry against the abyss, its energy a shield against the imminent danger. Each blast sent ripples of instability through the void echoes, their forms flickering in response. The scene was a chaotic symphony of terror and bravery, each note resonating with Ezra's determination. Amidst the chaos, a glimmer caught his eye. The complete containment protocol, an icon of salvation amidst the sea of terror, lay within his grasp. With a surge of renewed vigor, he fought his way through the swirling void echoes. His fingers closed around the protocol, a triumphant grasp against the relentless tide of terror. Clutching the precious protocol, Ezra made his desperate stand. The swarm of void echoes closed in, their numbers a monstrous wave against his dwindling strength. In this grim moment, Ezra stood resolute, a lone soldier in the face of overwhelming odds. With a final burst of determination, he implemented the containment protocol. The response was immediate. A massive energy surge rippled through the facility, its impact a beacon of victory. The void echoes recoiled, their forms fading into the ether. In their wake, silence fell, a solemn testament to the victorious struggle. In the aftermath, the triumphant trio communicated their success to the outside world. As their message echoed through the desolate landscape, a glimmer of hope ignited. Despite the widespread destruction, the promise of recovery lingered in the air. Yet Ezra was under no illusions. The victory was a significant step, but the road to recovery was long and fraught with challenges. As he stood amidst the echo of their success, he pledged to continue his fight, his role in humanity's salvation far from over. Hey sci-fi horror fans, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Craving another scary story? Click on that video on your screen. Until next time, everyone, and remember, stay cosmic.